They're like when I looked at game managers back in the day, the players that came to mind to me, the poster child of it all was Alex Smith. He was a game manager. And what is a game manager is the question. And I look at so many former QBs, so many people that are giving their definitions of what a game manager is. And I'm like, yo, that is not what we identified as a game manager 10 years ago. Play the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart. And one Cam Newton. So here's the deal. There's two sort of things we need to discuss when it comes to Cam Newton. It's the side of, all right, what did he say? And then it's the side of, all right, the media sort of criticizing him, sort of taking jabs, trying to act like he's not Cam Newton, the former MVP. Let's start off with just the media portion of things, because I was sort of appalled by just because I watched it live. I was watching, the people that really started this all was the people on ESPN, on Get Up. They were reacting to Cam Newton's comments and everything like that. I actually saw his comments before they even reacted to it and stuff like that. And it was Kimberly A. Martin and it was Dominique Foxworth, but mainly Kimberly A. Martin, and she just took some jabs at him, talking about, oh, he sounds like this in the basement, telling me this, that, and the third. I'm just like, yo, what are we, like, this is Cam Newton we talking about. Don't just go out here disrespecting Cam Newton like that. Like, talk about what he said. Don't try to disrespect the character. Don't try to, take jabs at his career. Talk about what he said, don't disrespect the messenger. Just talk about what he said. And she didn't do that at all. And she does. See, I respect her as a reporter because she's one of the best NFL reporters in the business. But when it comes to being a commentator, when it comes to being on that debate desk, she's not good at all. She's very annoying. Like, every time she talks, I cringe. Like, seriously.
I remember she tried to make the point that Dak Prescott and Zach Wilson were identical because the yards per attempt or something like that. I'm like, okay, man.
Absolutely. I remember last year, there was this conversation about, do you remember the Giants were making a run in the playoffs? And she's a Giants fan, right? So she was like, I don't want the Giants to make the playoffs. Like, I don't want this to happen. Just keep losing. I'm like, bro, what? What? You don't want your team to make the playoffs?
Well, in hindsight, she might have been on to something, but because that Daniel Jones contract is, ugh.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, as a, you want, if your team is making a run, if they're looking good, and you have a new head coach and everything like that, and the quarterback that people hated is starting to play a lot better, why wouldn't you want them to make the playoffs?
True.
It gives the team the morale.
Especially when you could have a matchup like the Vikings. And we all knew their chain was fake.
They won a playoff game too. So just a lot of her takes. The only good take I've seen from her was the Lamar Jackson one, where she was sort of reacting to what Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp said about Lamar, because a lot of people were sort of saying that, yo, Stephen A., Shannon Sharp, you guys are not being fair towards Lamar. And she sort of fired back at them. And I thought she was correct in a lot of her points. That was probably her best take. But besides that, yeah, she just, every time she talks, it just cringes me. But she's a great reporter. And just a lot of people on social media sort of attacking Cam Newton and just his career and everything like that. But this isn't new. Like, they always do this, social media and stuff like that. Even some media people, they do this. I'll say this. Me personally, when it comes to like athletes in general, when I talk about them or when I speak about athletes that are in the media space, like, I don't try to take jabs at their career. Like, I try to talk about, okay, what did they say? Now, have I maybe taken jabs? I can't remember, but I probably have. And I'll say this, that
It really depends, honestly, because let's say if a player that came out and tried to diminish someone else's career and then try to boast their own career like there was something, but then it's okay to talk about their career. But if they just giving their take on something, then just address the take instead of what they done when they played. You know what I'm saying?
But I just feel like it's kind of hard for me to really sort of take a jab at a player, right, that's played the game or that's currently playing the game, because I didn't play the game at their level. And so for me to sort of question their credentials, question their sort of career, is kind of like, who are you, in a way? Like, you haven't done what I've done and stuff. So it's kind of hard for me to really sort of come in and sort of say, like, you're wrong for doing that. When I look at, like, let's say this, because I'll give you an example. So, like, Ryan Hollins, for example. Ryan Hollins, he's a former basketball player. I remember he was on ESPN, and he would say the most outrageous takes. Outrageous takes. But I would never say, well, dude, you were on the bench. Like, you barely got any playing time. I'll just say, dude, you're just smoking crack. You don't know, like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, you're absolutely wrong. Like, I never say, like, oh, because you were on the bench, you were a bench warmer, you never played in the game, you were trash, that I'm going to start to say, like, oh, you shouldn't even be belonging in this media sphere. Like, you shouldn't even be allowed to have a take. I'm not going to do that. And some people, they do that because, oh, he was on the bench. Oh, he didn't start. Like Dan Orlowski or some of these other players. I'm not going to do that. I feel like that's wrong, because they've actually played in the game. They've been in the locker room. They've actually been around those environments. Like, how can you say that this player isn't allowed to have an opinion because they weren't as great as this player? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, just like one of my favorite channels I've been watching recently, the QB School.
Yeah.
JT O'Sullivan. He wasn't no great player. He wasn't. You can honestly say he wasn't good at all. But he knows football. He knows how to break down film. He drops a lot of good nuggets on offenses and formations and plays and all of that, and QB mechanics. That's just like, hey, this is good stuff. I don't care if he was trash in the league or not. And it's not like he's getting up there and calling QBs trash. He would give his opinion on certain things, like, oh, this mechanic may be off. I'm not going to discredit what he said, because he gets on Dak about his footwork sometimes, and how he doesn't plant his feet in the dirt when he throws sometimes. I'm not going to say, well, you wouldn't know because you're not. Like, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm just like, oh, well, I can agree. I just got to, he knows more about football than I do. So, hey, who am I to judge?
Right. And, like, sometimes, like, even the great players, the players that weren't that good, know more or can sort of articulate themselves better than the great players. So you ever hear like, oh, like, great players, they might not be good as like head coaches or GMs or stuff like that, because they're so great that their mind, like, they can only see it one way. And when you're not good, you understand, like, okay, because you're not good, you understand, like, certain flaws. You understand, like, okay, what makes a great player and stuff like that. And that's sort of the same thing. And I just look at, if you played the game, you're allowed to sort of break down the game because you were there. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't some athletes that have some horrendous takes. I know, because Gil's Arena, for example. There's this one dude on. I'm not gonna say his name.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Has some of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life. Ryan Hollins is another one. Has some of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life. There are athletes that, yeah, they played, but they have some of the worst takes ever. But I will never say that, oh, why are you allowed to have a take? Like, you didn't even play the game like that. You were just on the bench. Like, I'm never going to say that about a player, because at the end of the day, they have done more than I ever did. So why can I take a jab at his career? Why can I say, oh, your credentials, they don't matter, when they've actually been in those situations? They've been in-house. They've been in the locker room. And that's what I don't like about what Kimberly A. Martin did, because it's like, oh, because he's not playing anymore, that his opinion doesn't matter. Like, bro, he was in the trenches. He was an MVP. Come on, man. Cam, that year he was the best player. He was the best player. He was better than Brady, Peyton, Rodgers. Every game, they went 15-1. Don't disrespect Cam because he not playing no more. He is better than so Majority of these backup QBs, it's just these organizations. They play politics.
No, he's really not.
What?
He's
He is
really
not that bad, bro. He is not that bad. Come on now.
Have you seen him throw? Have you seen him throw?
I've seen him play with Carolina. I know. Come on now. He not better than Tim Boyle.
I don't know who he's better than at this point, bro.
That
arm,
bad.
that shoulder is cooked, buddy.
Okay, whatever. Well,
and the fact, see, that's the thing. A lot of Cam Newton, he could throw. He could throw when in his prime in the MVP season. A lot of that was like because of his athleticism and his way he could run the ball.
All right, that's a different conversation, man. And then, but hold up. I don't know if it was the next year or the year after. 68% completion percentage with North Turner, so he showed that he can throw the ball. But then the injury happened. The injury, and see, we never got to see his full potential because of that injury and stuff like that. But anyway, that's a different conversation.
And he also had nobody to throw to. Honestly,
that's another thing, and he still won MVP. Ain't that something? Anywho, that's a different conversation. Regardless, let's not throw jabs at Cam Newton's career. Talk about what he said. And that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, we're in agreement pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I was confused when I saw it. I was like, did he say something personal about hers? I thought like he took a personal jab at hers. I'm like, why is she going hard like this?
Nah, man. And she had a layup. Like, it was a wide open layup, and she bricked it. She airballed it. Like, how do you do that? You have a wide open layup, no contest at all, and you decided to airball it. That makes no sense. Like
that was beyond me.
Yeah,
I was
beyond
like, okay,
me.
whatever.
Okay, so let's get to the other side of the conversation. What he exactly said, right? And see, this is where things get a bit tricky for me. The whole term game manager. I tried to retire the term because I just don't like the term game manager. It can be sort of implied in different ways. And here's the thing. So Cam Newton, he identified Dak Prescott, Tua, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, all as game managers. And that's where people looked at him like, what do you mean? Like, specifically Dak Prescott, because he's been tremendous this year. He's made so many plays. He's pushing the ball down the field. He's been absolutely one of the best QBs, if not the best QB in the league this year. So for him to say that, I disagree because I feel like he's going off of what Dak was in his first 3 years. If you look at his first 3 years, okay, yeah, he was a game manager in my opinion. He was, in my definition of a game manager, yeah, that's what he was. But nowadays, ever since I would say 2020, I feel like Dak has been more than just a game manager. I feel like he's been a gunslinger. He's a gunslinger in my opinion. That's what Dak is to me. The first part of the season, before I would say the first 3 games, whatever, where they were leaning more of the defense running game. He was sort of game managing a little bit, but
not against the Jets.
What do you mean? Well, yeah, you're right about that, but majority of the time he was really just managing the game and stuff like that. But I would say around, you said the Jets game.
After we lost to San Fran.
That's when the offense started to change, and that's what I feel like. You can't just call Dak a game manager. Why?
Because he went to Mike McCarthy and was like, listen, I know this is what you thought, this is what you envisioned, but just let me cook. And that's going to be one of the things I bring up later in my definitions of game managers and all that good stuff. So you go ahead.
So here's the deal. I think where I'm confused at is in this day and age, the way that we look at game managers, I don't know if there's necessarily that many game managers anymore. They're like, when I looked at game managers back in the day, the players that came to mind to me, the poster child of it all was Alex Smith. He was a game manager. And what is a game manager is the question. And I look at so many former QBs, so many people that are giving their definitions of what a game manager is. And I'm like, yo, that is not what we identified as a game manager 10 years ago. So when I look at a game manager, this is my definition of a game manager. It's number one, obviously, you're not putting the ball in harm's way. That's number one, okay? Number two, you're not pushing the ball down the field. Yeah, you're not putting the ball in harm's way, but you're not pushing the ball down the field. You're not being very aggressive. You know what I'm saying? And those are the two things where I'm looking at a game manager like, yeah, your the offense is still okay, it's still good, but are you like taking chances? Are you being a gunslinger and just airing the ball out? Like, I look at a game manager and that's not what they are. I look at Alex Smith, I look at a Jimmy G, that's not what they were. They weren't airing it out. They weren't taking chances. They weren't gunslingers. They were protecting the football. They were, still converting drive after drive, but it was a lot of thinking and dunking. It was a lot of intermediate routes, a lot of whatever the offense, whatever the system with with Kyle Shanahan, he'll have like the Debos and whatever. He'll give it to Debo and they'll get a lot of yak yardage. He'll dump it off to the running back and they'll get a lot of they'll get a lot of rushing yards. Like, it wasn't, the quarterback is not dependent on for the offense to really produce that much. And that's how I look at when it comes to a game manager. All these other QBs, like former QBs, Cam Newton, everything like that, they're sort of bringing in different sort of ways to define it. I'm like, I've never heard of that before. Like, that's new to me. And so that's how I look at it. In this game today, I can't really see that many game managers anymore. I don't see a whole lot of game managers anymore. So for him to identify Tua, Brock Purdy, Dak, and Jared Goff as game managers, I don't look at them as game managers because they push the ball down the field. Maybe Brock Purdy, you might be able to say that, but he pushes the ball down the field.
He's the one who's honestly on his way to not being a game manager. I 1,000% believe Tua and Jared Goff are game managers.
You think they're game managers?
Yes.
But they push the ball down the field, though.
That's not my definition of a game manager.
What's your definition of a game manager?
Okay, here's my definition of a game manager. A QB that can run a system at an efficient level.
Okay.
So Jimmy Garoppolo, in my opinion, he is a system QB.
He's not a game manager?
No. He's a system QB because you look at it, he was terrible in Vegas. So
okay,
game managers, in my opinion, you can adapt to multiple schemes.
Okay. Well, I mean, he played for Patriots. He was pretty solid those 2 games, and then San Francisco. He was pretty solid.
So, anywho, but he stinks on the Raiders.
Okay.
How you get outplayed by
now.
Aiden O'Connell? But anywho, so in my opinion, game managers run this. They're pretty much the next step above system QBs.
Okay.
In my opinion. So they can run the system very well. But here's my problem.
Okay.
When did we stop using Cam Newton lost me when he said Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and who else did he say?
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees were game managers. I'm like, whoa. No, we're not doing that. When did we stop using the term field general is what I want to know. Because in my opinion, those guys, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees, were field generals. They knew the offense. They had control over the offense. They could go to the coaches and be like, hey, maybe we should implement this. Maybe we should do this. They had complete control of that offense. That's the difference between the game manager and the field general. Field generals take control of the offense. Yeah, game managers, they can run the offense. If they do everything right, but when you're a field general, you control the entire offense. This is why I think Joe Burrow falls in that category of a field general. Dak falls into that category of field general. And you can, honestly, Mahomes, he I don't know what Mahomes is. He's like I'm going to just say he's a playmaker at this point because this dude does everything.
He falls in many different categories.
Yeah, like Tom Brady is a field general. Those guys are field generals. That's the difference between me. That's why I was kind of confused at what Cam Newton said Dak was a game manager because, one, he hasn't been that in years, like you said. It's been since like 2020. When they really gave him the keys to the offense, he just took off until that injury happened. He was on pace for like 5,000 yards and 40-something touchdowns or something crazy like that. And that's why I was super confused about that whole thing. But, yeah, we need to bring the term field general back.
Field general.
Because I think game manager is too broad of a term to really put on all of these different QBs because you can't tell me that Tua is the same caliber of player as a Joe Burrow or something like that. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me that.
No. That's the thing, man. Like, that's why I don't like the term game manager. It's too hard to decipher. It's too hard to like really sort of define, because it's so many different variables that goes into, okay, what is a game manager?
And like, how can how can an MVP candidate, the lead for MVP in the odds, be a game manager? That's what I don't understand that. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard to really. It's hard to really say. That's why when he said that about Brock Purdy and with Dak and them, it was just like.
And then he also had two other points that I didn't really agree with. He said the trailer and the truck analogy.
Yeah.
He said game managers are the trailers.
Yeah.
But then you said Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, Drew Brees were game managers, but they were absolutely the truck in that offense. The offense went where Brady, Peyton, and Brees went, and it didn't happen. It didn't turn into the other way until towards the end of Peyton Manning's career.
Yeah.
Where he had to rely more on the defense, rely more on the run game and things of that nature. But they absolutely were the trucks of that offense. Wherever they went, the offense went. So that analogy really didn't make sense to me. And also the analogy that teams aren't going into the draft looking for Dak Prescott and stuff. That is false. Dak Prescott is a 8-year starter?
Yeah.
8-year starter, MVP candidate, multiple playoff wins, relatively healthy, and it's been a top 10 QB for years on years. What GM would not look for that in a draft?
I have to push back on that one. No. See, you're not understanding. See, what Cam is trying to say is that these certain type of special QBs, like they're special QBs that all these GMs want, they covet. And those special QBs that he mentioned, the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes, the Aaron Rodgers, those type of QBs, those are the QBs that these teams are searching for. I like Dak, but when you look at a draft, nobody is going there and saying, yo, I want a Dak Prescott. Like, no, they're looking for a special QB. They're looking for a dime. They're looking for a gem. And those QBs, those are the gems.
How many special QBs come out every year? One?
Maybe one. Maybe one.
That's a moot point in my opinion.
But this is
and
just,
it's funny. You know what's funny? He said teams are looking for them type of QBs. Yet Jared Goff got drafted first overall
because they thought, what did they compare Jared Goff to?
I don't know.
Joe Montana, Tom Brady, like.
Oh, that's funny because they also would fall into Cam's definition of a game manager. See,
I'm not telling you like his point isn't flawed. Like his point is very flawed in certain instances. But I'm pushing back on your point about what GMs wouldn't want to look for a Dak. Like no, they're looking for special type of QBs, all time great type of talented QBs like a Josh Allen, like a Mahomes, like a Lamar Jackson. Those type of QBs, they're not going in there saying, "Yo, I want to get a Dak type of player." Like, no, that's not what
people
they're
want to
looking
see. J. Stroud.
I mean, I'm just saying, man. Like, that's what they're looking for. And if you push back on that, I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you too much, but I agree on that point when it comes to Cam. Is some of his points very flawed? Absolutely, but that one, I'm not really mad about that. But yeah, it's just interesting. His the game changer versus game manager comparison. He had Josh Allen. I just mentioned the names: Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I believe he had Joe Burrow, which is very interesting. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers. Even though Aaron Rodgers is kind of old, but he mentioned those guys as sort of game changers. And I wanna sort of your reaction, like sort of his explanation of what a game changer is. Like, how did you feel about that? Because when he mentioned Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, you sort of discussed a little bit, but like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and them, and how he said that it's not a negative sort of connotation, but he put them in that sort of category. But when you look at like a game changer, you have like these QBs in there. Like I just want, what is your reaction to that?
One,
like,
I don't agree with Joe Burrow being in that, and with his definition, I don't agree that Joe Burrow is in that game changer category because Joe Burrow, in my opinion, he has He's not like an elite athlete. He's not going to run out the pocket, make plays with his legs.
Doesn't have
He's
an
not
elite
going to
arm.
make these crazy across the field throws across his body, these like Pat Mahomes. Like Josh Allen and Lamar and Mahomes, I absolutely understand why he would say they are game changers. But Burrow, in my opinion, like I said, he's a field general. He's an all around player. He takes control of the offense and he does what he does very well. But I don't know. I don't understand. Like, what point is he trying? Like, when does the line get drawn for game changers versus game managers?
It's so confusing.
Because I could make the point that who let me think for a second. So does he? I want to know what he thinks about Jalen Hurts. Does he think Jalen Hurts is a game changer or a game manager? What qualifies you to be a game changer?
I don't know. I mean,
because you can run and make plays out the pocket. You know how many Dak make plays out the pocket all the time?
I think it's you're not solely reliant on talent to be effective. That's where I'm sort of. Is that what he means?
We don't know what he means.
I feel like that's kind of what I'm interpreting when it comes to game changer. Like, you're not solely reliant on the talent around you in order to be effective. And if that's what he's sort of talking about, well, Tom Brady didn't have the most talented rosters. He had a wonderful system, but he was the orchestrator. He was the one that was in charge of everything, and he didn't have the most talented rosters. He had James White as like his best running back one year, LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah.
He did have some pretty solid O-lines. But a lot of those receivers, I mean, Julian Edelman, he's one of the most clutch receivers we've ever seen, but he's not going to be he's not going in the Hall of Fame. You know, like
he had Randy Moss that 1 year.
Yeah, that 1 year. He had Rob Gronkowski, all-time great tight end, but he's a tight end. And who else? He had Amendola and he had I forgot that one guy that I think he won the Super Bowl MVP. I forget his name on the Patriots.
Wes Welker?
Nah, it wasn't Wes Welker.
On the Patriots?
Yeah, he was on the Patriots.
Julian Edelman, I know he won Super Bowl MVP.
It was this guy. I forgot his name, but he won Super Bowl MVP 1 year. It was like way back in. I think it may have been one of their
earlier rings.
Rings.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
It may have been one of the earlier rings, but I forget his name. But it's just a bunch of guys that weren't very talented, but they fit the system. And I look at Tom Brady and I'm like, why can't he be a game changer?
Tom Brady is a game changer.
And I look at but here's the thing, like I look at Peyton Manning, and when has Peyton Manning ever had a bad receiving core? That's what I'm trying. I can't think of one. His rookie year, maybe his second year as well, but that's when they weren't winning. After that, Peyton Manning, he had Marvin Harrison, he had Reggie Wayne, he had that tight end.
Dwight Clark? Was it Dwight?
No, was it? I think it was Jeremy Shockey. I think it may have been Jeremy Shockey. Then he left and went to the Giants. It may have been Dwight Clark too. Dwight Clark may have been in the. Regardless, he had a lot of talent, and if you want to put Peyton Manning at game manager, I still don't understand it. Like it's just weird to me. I feel like Tom Brady.
Dwight Clark is way older. He's way too far back. I know it was a tight end though.
It was Jeremy Shockey.
Yeah, probably was.
It was Jeremy Shockey for a little bit, but I don't think he was there when they won the Super Bowl. When he won the Super Bowl with the Colts. But regardless, Peyton Manning, he had a lot of talent. Drew Brees.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham.
Drew Brees is an interesting one because he didn't have, he had that system with Sean Payton, which was great for his time. And he had Jimmy Graham. But I wouldn't look at Drew Brees' weapons being very talented. Like he had Marcus Colston. He had Brandon Cooks.
According to Pro Football Reference, Jeremy Shockey never played for the.
Who the fuck was the tight? I remember they had a tight end that was like really good for them. I could have sworn.
I know he did because I've seen the card on Mutt before. Is it Dang, I know. Let me see.
I could have sworn, but well.
It was. You can keep continue.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look. I'm
but,
gonna do the research.
Yeah.
You can keep talking.
Anywho. Like it's just weird, man. Cam, I just don't understand it. I don't agree with his
Jack Doyle.
Jack Doyle. Yeah, it probably was Jack Doyle.
It was him. I forgot. Yep, it was Jack Doyle. Wait, no, not Jack Doyle. He just got into the league in 2013. It was
Let's see.
Dang, who was it?
2000.
Maybe we might be missing.
Maybe. I don't know.
Wait, Austin Collie was a tight end? No,
It was Dallas Clark.
It was.
He played for the Colts in like 2005.
Dallas Clark, not Dwight. Okay, I got confused.
Yeah.
Okay, who?
It was Dallas Clark.
Okay, who? I got confused. Yeah, it was Dallas Clark. I got confused which one played at which time. I got Dwight and Dallas mixed up.
Yeah.
Okay, who? So yeah, he had Dallas Clark. He had Reggie Wayne. He had Marvin Harrison. Then he had Edgerrin James at running back.
Yeah, a lot of people. But regardless, I just wanted to end it on
Bob Sanders in the secondary.
I just want to end it on just I disagree with Cam Newton's whole game manager versus game changer sort of approach to everything, and I just feel like we should retire the term, come up with something different. That's how I feel about it.
Cold world, still a cold world, and a couple y'all is cool, but we a little more thorough. Whole time, a little more girls. You know I spit that sick shit and it's still no cure. Hold up, loud packs like I got